Hello, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and I just can see participants joining. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes, and hopefully everyone will be here on time. So I can see the monitor going up. So once it stabilizes, I will start this session. Well, it's nearly stabilizing. I suppose it's a good sign that we're joined by a large audience when it keeps cropping up or creeping up, I should say. So you're very welcome to today's session or this evening session at 7 o'clock to talk about the CAO process. My name is Ita McGuigan and I work in Maynooth University in the admissions office. And I'm joined by my colleague Olivia McGinn, who also works in the admissions office. And Amy, our wonderful student, I was on the 6 o'clock session just listening to the Meet the Students, and I have to say I learned a lot from Amy's session. So it's great. We will talk through, so I'll go through the CEO presentation. Olivia will answer the questions, so please use the Q&A box and Olivia will answer all questions related to CEO. I have instructed Olivia that she can interrupt me throughout this because for some reason when I share my screen, I lose sight of everyone. So if Olivia jumps in to answer any questions, feel free. And then finally, I think we'll save the best for last, Amy, because I heard Amy in the student talk saying that she came through a different avenue, not just through your traditional leave and cert straight to university. So I do want to afford you the opportunity of hearing from someone directly who's a few years younger than me and who has applied through the CEO more recently than me. But what I want to talk to you tonight about is what we see from the admissions side. What we see, okay, I'll talk about how you go about filling out the CEO, but you will hear me repeating and repeating, please don't do this, please don't do that, because we see it heartbreak every summer when the CEO results or the CEO offers go out and applicants, mothers, a lot of mothers, some fathers, guardians, whatever, ring us, pleading with us about different situations. So I'll go through that, I suppose, to hopefully warn you not to do X and Y and remember to do A and B. So I'm going to share my screen, and as I say, please use Olivia uh, to ask any questions. Sorry, something came up on my screen and I couldn't share. So I'm going to start. So Olivia, maybe you could confirm that you can see this all right.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm seeing that, but we're seeing all of your slides at the moment. So if you want to put it in slideshow
Okay.
from beginning.
Slideshow from beginning. Yeah.
Yep, that seems to be showing fine.
Okay.
Oh no, it's
So
come back. It's reverted back to all of your slides on the left-hand side.
um, Sabar? No. Can you
No.
see the main slides, Olivia?
Yep, that's perfect. Yep.
Is that perfect?
Yep.
Oh, it's showing. I'm not sure if you can see the text below. Can you see the text
I
that's
can
coming
and
up?
see. Yep. Yep.
You
I
can.
can indeed. Yep.
So just bear with me for a second. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share again.
The joys of Zoom.
The joys of Zoom, typical. Can you see that
Yep,
now, Olivia?
that's perfect now. Yep.
Apologies, everyone. So anyone who joined late there for the last couple of minutes, I'd done that on purpose for you, so you wouldn't miss anything of this presentation. It wasn't a technical glitch on my end, and I'm not going red because I couldn't sort that out. So, as I said, my name is Ita McGuigan, and myself and Olivia work in the admissions office, and I'm here tonight to talk you through the application process. Um, so what is the CEO? the CEO processes all undergraduate courses in all higher educations in Ireland. So all your level 6, 7, and 8 um, undergraduate degrees you apply through the HEI. But what isn't known is, or well, probably is known, but what a lot of people sometimes get confused about is the offers are issued and acceptances are recorded by the CEO. It's not by any of the HEIs. It's not by Maynooth or myself and Olivia. It's all done through the CEO. So this session is about how to make the best application you can, hopefully to Maynooth or to others, but it's all process or it's all through the CEO. The assessment of the applications and the decisions on your application is made by us, myself, Olivia, a team of admissions people. We make the decisions on them, but that's directed all through the CEO. So the process, if I was advising a relation, a neighbour, a child, a sibling, whoever who lands at the door to see Ita, what would I do about going to make a CEO application? I would say first and foremost, there's a CEO handbook. It's available to download on the CEO website. I like going through a hard copy. So the first thing you do, you get your CEO handbook. The next thing is your CEO application. If you do not apply through the CEO, you cannot get into a first year in an undergraduate program at Maynooth University. The dates are hugely important. The choices are hugely important. Make sure that you have the entry requirement, and you will hear me saying over and over again the genuine order of preference. So what will I go back to here? So I will go back and give an example. I have worked a number of HEIs in the past, and it surprises me every year when someone will phone us and they will say, I missed the CEO deadline. I'm doing my leaving cert. I will get my 300, 400, 500, 600 points, but I've missed the deadline. There is absolutely nothing, I mean nothing, that any admissions officer can do in any institution if you miss the CEO deadline. So please don't miss the deadline. Now, the person that I'm talking about more recently, a neighbour who missed the deadline, it worked out okay because they had, I think, 475 points. They couldn't come anywhere because they'd missed the CEO deadline, but they went through a PLC, they took a year out, and then they joined the university. The choices. So if you, and I heard Amy talking about this and other students, and I will go back to it myself, when I was filling out my CEO a number of years previous to Amy, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Some of my classmates knew exactly what they wanted to do. Others, like me, were kind of average at everything and, didn't really know. But what I remember, the guidance counselor, indeed my parents, going back and say, Ita, what do you enjoy doing? So the classes that and not necessarily getting an A in it, by the way, in my leaving cert or a higher one, but it was, say, the chemistry or the maths, and that's what I enjoyed. And then I was thinking, okay, about my history or the interests, what do I like? So working on a farm, father mechanic, I loved engineering. So although I didn't know necessarily I wanted to be an engineer, went off and done a degree in engineering. Why did I do that? Because I remember someone telling me before, break it down. Don't think of something about 3 or 4 years duration. Go with, what are you enjoying in school? Because you want to enjoy university or you want to enjoy this next stage in your life. You also want to get a job and you want to be successful. To get a job and to be successful, you will need to get through first year and then second year and third year and fourth year or whatever. That's not going to happen if you go into something that you don't enjoy in school or you won't enjoy in the university. And I noticed a spelling mistake there. So apologies with that. But make sure you pick something that you're going to enjoy. Now, let's say, going back to engineering as an example. So the engineering as an example would require a higher level maths requirement. I had that so I could put it down. But if you're doing ordinary level maths, and if you notice in Maynooth you need a higher level maths, don't put down engineering if you're not meeting the entry requirements. the basic entry requirements, the matriculation, because that's using one of your spaces. And please use in genuine order of preference, because I will come to this later. Every year we get phone calls going, I want to come to Maynooth. It was my fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh preference. I got my number one course in another institution, but I really want to come to Maynooth. Maynooth University, all the admissions officers have signed an agreement with the CEO, and students are told, and parents, guidance counsellors, and indeed in the handbook, that it's in genuine order of preference. You cannot get something lower than you have been already offered. So please bear that in mind. So if you get, indeed, Olivia, you may recall this, it's 2 summers ago, we got a call from a student who went different avenues around the university and said, I've got my 625 points. I got my number one preference, but it's not in Maynooth. I want to come to Maynooth. Because our course was full, and because, actually, forget even that it was full, but because the student got their number one preference and Maynooth was either 2, 3, 4, or 10 or whatever, there was absolutely nothing we can do. So I will repeat these throughout. So back to the dates, back to my friend who missed the um, CEO deadline. Remember the dates. Get your application in. Now, if it's not a restricted course, you can change your mind. So the important thing is, if it was me, look at Monaghan, close to Cavan. Sorry for anyone from Cavan, but there's an early closing fee of €30 for on the 20th of January. So get your application in, and we tell you what you need to do in it. But I have to say, the CEO website, the CEO handbook, coupled with the demonstrations on the CEO website, ceo.ie, and all the resources there, it is easy to do if you follow the step-by-step guidelines. So you've got so 5th of November it opened, 20th of January discount, 1st of February CEO closes, change of mind opens on the 6th of May, and then you've got to the 1st of July. Now, please refer to the CEO handbook throughout. And remember what I said in the previous slide, make sure that you have the matriculation requirements. For example, does a program have a particular requirement? And I'm going to use the engineer and say for a level 8, and I'm going to use Maynooth in this instance, you need higher level maths, say for engineering. Similarly, for primary school teaching, that'll be higher level Irish. There's a number of courses that have specific entry requirements. Make sure you're studying that subject and make sure you're studying it to the level that is required. Because as I say, those 10 options in level 8 and the 10 options in level 6 and 7 are precious. Because, okay, some people might say, I'm only filling out 1 and 2, my first preference and second preference. For me, I was getting in somewhere. I was using my number 1 to 10 on my level 8, and I was using my number 1 to 10 on my level 6 to 7, because there are routes into careers, different careers nowadays. So don't just get your money's worth, fill out the 20 places, and that's what I would advise. Make sure and look at the course requirements. Points may go up and down, and I will talk about how points are determined later on. But don't be filling out a CEO form going, okay, I'm putting the one at 600, 500, 400, or 300. Think about being successful again, and think about getting through your first, second, third. Think about that program, that course that's going to meet your interests and what you're good at academically. So the points can fluctuate, but deadlines on the dates are not flexible. So I mentioned the CEO.ie. I, like, in preparation for this evening, and indeed throughout our job, I'd hope Olivia would agree, we'd always refer to the CEO website, handbook, but all those resources. There's video guides there, demo applications. Um, so make sure there's advice there for parents and students, and where you get the resources. So make sure and use that resource and that facility. So what do I do? So if I was looking to apply through the CEO, quite simple. The handbook in my left hand and the keyboard in my right, CEO.ie apply. You enter carefully the details such as your name, address, date of birth, schools, examination, information, etc. I should have said if you are a Leaving Cert student for this year, you enter that. But remember, if anyone's here who's repeating their Leaving Cert, enter your information from previous years. Um, Now, make sure you inform CEO about all relevant qualifications. And I know, Amy, you possibly will talk about QQI shortly if I if I get on with it. Fill that in, and exemptions. If you're entitled to any exemptions from Irish, from language, or whatever, see the relevant sections on the form. Make sure and tick all the boxes that, again, with the guidance of the resources on the CEO.ie, follow it step by step. This is what it looks like if anyone hasn't looked at it yet. This is a simple. There's a question here. Do you wish to receive SMS text from CEO? For some reason, not everyone ticks yes. I would tick yes on that because this is how CEO corresponds to you. Whatever email you enter, and I do know, and I'm sure others will agree, Olivia possibly would agree with this, some people enter an email address they've just created and they never look at that email again. Some people give their school email address that they mightn't ever look at. CEO corresponds with applicants through text messages to notify them that there's maybe their form has been updated or there's notification on their application, but they send emails. So many times every year, we will get a student who didn't get an offer and can't understand why. And when we have to advise them to get on to CEO, it's because CEO have advised them that they've forgot to fill out X or Y a month previous and they hadn't done it. So please, please, please check your emails regularly. And I would tick the S box there. Um, you create your account password and you confirm that password. And then they email you that verification once you have that create. And then you go on and proceed with your application. So that's creating your CEO. Once you have that done, you will have your CEO number. So when you apply online, you'll be given an application number, appear on screen, and you will get that email containing. And sometimes in emails, I'm sure we all get it, sometimes emails can go into spam or junk or whatever. Just make sure once you create that um, application and you've got the number, check your emails straight away. Your application number is private and it will be used for every correspondence between you and the CEO for the rest of the year. And sometimes, actually, just when I say that you have a CEO number and I talk about myself and Olivia working on admissions, we always see is the CEO number. So this is really, really important for you. This is what you get when you when you apply through the CEO. So you will require your CEO application number, date of birth, password when you log into your account via the My Application facility to update your application and to access that that My Application portal when you get that SMS text message or you get the email. So there are two course choice lists. Level 8, which in Maynooth University all our programs are level 8, and then the level 7, level 6. Each applicant can make up to 10 course choices on each list. Myself, I filled out the 20 I was getting in somewhere. So your choices on one list do not in any way affect your choices on the other list. So they're two separate. So it is possible to receive a level 8 offer and it is possible to receive a level 7 or 6 offer. And then it's up to you. You might decide actually the level 7 will lead into where I want to go in the level 8, or you might, happy days, get the level 8 offer that you always wanted. And if you fill it out wisely and in genuine order of preference from 1 to 10, you should be happy with any of those 10 offers. Any of those, sorry, an offer from any of those 10 that you put down. Because number 1 to 3 would be your dream. Number 4, 5, 6 is your realistic. And 7, 8, 9, 10, your backup that will lead into your number 1 eventually. Alternatively, you might not wish to accept, so you may get two offers, a level 7 or a level 6, and a level 8, or you might not wish to accept either, but you only can accept maximum 1. There's also information on the DARE. If you're a here applicant, please make sure that you fill out the relevant boxes relating to that. Accesscollege.ie is a great resource for those and more information on that. Guidance counsellors are excellent resources in school also. So I mentioned before that, genuine order of preference. So I will give you an example. If I put down, let's say, biomedical science, a number one, because I look through the sea. I want this is just for an example for this. Let's say I definitely, because I went to all the open days, because I listened to Amy, because Maynooth's on my doorstep, or because whatever, I am coming to Maynooth. And I'm only using Maynooth in this example because it's unfair on other institutions if I pick on them. So let's say I'm looking at biomedical. Let's say I'm on around the 450 mark. I think I might get that, or I might get, let's say I think I'm going to get 400 points in my Leaving Cert. And I'm looking on page 143 of the brilliant prospectus, and I'm seeing biomedical science is around 470. And I'm thinking, in fairness, I'm filling it out in genuine order of preference, or not, I'm putting it down because I'm going on points. So put biomedical science number one. And then I think, oh, arts, a brilliant course, and I hope you do attend that session later on. But I'm going just by points in this, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm putting arts down number 10 because I'm going by points only. So good day at the office. I get my Leaving Cert results. I'm thinking, oh no, well, oh, brilliant. Parents are going to be happy, teachers are going to be happy, guardians going to be happy. I got 500 points. And I get offered my number one, biomedical science. And I'm thinking, oh no, but I really hate biology and I really love Gaeilge, English, history, geography, and I really want to be a geography or English teacher or history or whatever. And I'm going to ring Maynooth because I've got my 500 points. They've already offered me biomedical science. But I want number 10, I want arts. You will ring us. We cannot give you arts because you're the biomedical science. You have to accept or you can't get offered anything lower. So excuse me, just remember, the CEO aims to give the applicant their highest choice. So in subsequent rounds, if I get offered my number 10th preference, let's say I did get offered arts, but I really would have liked to get science education, let's say, and it's my number 8th or whatever. In subsequent rounds, I may get offered higher. I may get offered higher. So I hope that makes sense. But put a question, because Olivia, I hope I explained that right, but put a question into Olivia, and Olivia, you interrupt me if I need to go over that, because I do get very passionate about this, because every year we get so many queries about this, and there's heartbreak, for some people. I should have mentioned there also, check the statement of information the CEO will send to you in May to make sure you're happy with all the information that you have provided to them, and then in the statement of information, that's them confirming with you what you have. The level 7 and level 6, as I said, from experience, I filled in the 20, I was getting in somewhere. The 1st of July is a 5 p.m. deadline for if you want to change your order of preference. And please note there are some restrictions on that, restricted courses, and the information on that is in the CEO handbook. It doesn't relate to Maynooth programs apart from one direct into music. There's an applicant checklist. Tick it all before you finally make up your mind, and make sure that you have done all this for your creating your account and making your application. So what are points? I talked to you about, the points. So make sure that you give the entry requirements. How points are determined isn't about how difficult or prestigious the course is. Basically, what it is Maynooth University tell the CEO, we have X number of places on, let's say I'm going to use sports science for an example. Let's say we have 50 places on sports science. And by the way, this is just an example. We tell the CEO, we put it in on our CEO portal, we have 50 places. These are the matriculations and these are the entry requirements. So is there a subject specific? So the number of applicants, let's say the number of applicants for the 50 places is thousands. Well, then that drives the points up. But let's say the number of applicants is 51. Well, then the points are going to be quite low. Well, maybe 50 of those applicants of the 100 or of the 51 have 600 points, you know, but that's how it's determined. It's supply and demand. So the number of applicants versus the number of places. And then it's on the performance. So let's say, as I said, let's say we say there's 50 places in a course and there's 1,000 people has applied. Obviously, then it will go, does ETA, who's applying, meet the entry requirements, the subject requirements, and then it'll go on the points. So I mentioned this earlier, so the application number, I've explained the supply and demand. When you're, for your application summary, please do it in strict order of preference. Study all preferences carefully, deadlines, know what restricted courses are, know what basic entry requirements, check the eligibility. And not related to Maynooth, but some colleges in the CAO handbook are private colleges. So that's aside from Maynooth thing, nothing to, but just make sure that when you're picking your HEIs, have you picked and are happy that you're picking some private. College, public, so how do I know what I want to do? Okay, what do I enjoy in school? What's my interest? But people like Amy are like gold dust because they will tell you what it's like in college, why they picked the course, why they went the route they did, what their timetable is like. Like let's say for me, what I liked about engineering or science was it was a full-on 9 to 5 because I knew I wouldn't be someone who voluntary went to the library. I like that I had to go to class, you know. So I remember going to the open days. Make sure and go to open days. If you haven't been to Maynooth and you're thinking, when you're here because you might be thinking of Maynooth, we've two open days coming up, one in April, one in June. Come up, and even if you have been here before, but you're undecided, the genuine order of preference, for the sake of one Saturday before you go off on summer holidays, come up, get a feel for the campus, meet students like Amy, talk to the course directors. If you're undecided between a couple of courses, go over and ask them the hard questions. Go over and ask them, what is this module like? What is that module like? Where will I go? What's the difference in A and B? And what will I be studying? So use it wisely. Guidance counselor and teachers in school. I know my teachers and guidance counselor are a great resource. For me, could tell me where I was struggling, where they always see me going, and then parents and guardians, friends, siblings, who's on your GEA team, where are they studying? Don't be dictated to what you should be doing by your peers in school or where you should be going. This is an amazing opportunity. I hated school. I loved college. Now it was tough, but do you know when you're enjoying something or enjoying might be a push, but liking something, you're going to succeed. Please use this to what do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And pick the course and the college that meets your needs. And hopefully there's something in Maynooth for you. Research, I talked about that, and communicate. I mentioned that. Again, golden rules. Genuine order of preference. You can move up, but you can never move down. You can only accept one offer in each round. Treat any offer as if it's your last. And happy days if you get something else in round two or round three. And we see it every year. Most people, when they get their round one offer, they're happy to sit with it unless, you know, sometimes we would see that students actually don't take up their round two offer because they're happy, but treat it as your last. Random selection, we're delighted to say in Maynooth University, didn't happen last year. We do try to avoid it because it's very cruel if Olivia's on 411 points and I'm on 411 points and we're put into a draw to see how it gets. So it's one thing in Maynooth University we do as much as possible avoid. Available places, a small number of places are available place in Maynooth, but available places is put up for other institutions, so keep an eye on that. Why would I get a round two offer? Some people appeal and you could be upgraded, so you could get a round two. And that's one thing. Let's say I was entitled to I'm going to use biomedical science again, but I didn't get the points. But in an appeal, if I am upgraded, I'm entitled to that place at the university. Now, in small number of situations, the university or the HEI might say, okay, you're entitled to it, but we're full, we'll hold it until the following year and you're guaranteed it the following year. But I know this year, any upgrades, we were delighted that could accommodate that. But I need to say, if there is a place or if they're all gone, university or college might say, okay, you're entitled to it, but it might be to next year. But again, like around the places, we try to avoid that situation. Please check your email, and your correspondence of anything to do with your application is through the CEO. So I mentioned this before, and I should have put this slide earlier. If you meet the minimum entry requirements for the course, the points are calculated. All eligible applicants are then placed on a list in order of academic merit for each course they applied for. So if you have the minimum entry requirements plus your point score, you will then be in an order of merit. So if there's 50 places in the course, Olivia got number 50 and I'm on 51. I might get it in round two if Olivia doesn't accept it or defers it for the year. So it's ranked for on the points there, but the minimum entry requirements have to meet. The admissions officers, I mentioned this, tell CEO how many places are to be offered in each course, how many places we have here. Then CEO makes all the offers with the applicants. Your contract is with the CEO. We instruct the CEO, and then your liaison with the CEO. Should some applicants decline to accept their offer, like Olivia, who was 50th on it and I was 51, then I might get it. If I'm 51, I'll get it then. And that process continues until all the rounds or all the places are filled. The number of offers in round one far exceeds the number of offers in round two and subsequent rounds because most people would accept or defer. But again, as I mentioned, the upgrades, you would be entitled to it. All the offers will be available on the website. You can check for and accept your offers on the website. If you're entitled to an offer, you'll be sent an email with details. You will also receive an SMS text message if you've selected that option. And genuinely, I would select the text message option, but please always check your emails. So there can be no delays at the offer acceptance stage because if you don't accept your offer by a particular date, it then moves on to the round twos, and they're very, very quick after. I think there's 1 week between the round one and round two. So why no offer? You forgot to add the course, or you don't have, again, I'm using the engineer example, you have ordinary level maths and the subject requirement was higher level maths, didn't meet the entry requirements, or you never made an application for the NUI exemption. So if you're thinking about Maynooth, there's an NUI language exemption if you're entitled to that. And don't forget, put in your Leaving Cert exam number. I'm going to move on to Amy in a second, but back what I talked about, what do you enjoy in school academically? What's your interest? Academics and our open days are amazing, but the students, and there is an Ask a Student platform on our website, they will tell you what it's like to study at Maynooth. So use all the resources you can. I mentioned the open days. My advice to anyone who's considering Maynooth or any college, if at all possible, get off the bus, get out of the car and immediately get a sense. Well, I think you get a sense of community at Maynooth. That might be different for you, but come if at all possible. Admissions email address is there. I'm going to stop sharing, Amy. Olivia, I'm going to check with you. Did I say anything inaccurate? Did I forget to say anything, or appreciate if there's any questions, any recurring questions that you want to cover before we move over to Amy?
No, not at the moment,
You're on
Ita. Well
mute.
done on that. Can you hear me?
Yep, that's good.
You can hear me. Perfect. Yeah,
Can't, no,
no,
I
you
can't hear
seem
you.
to.
Uh, Amy, can I
I can
just
hear
check
you.
I can hear you?
Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear any of us.
No,
I can hear her, Amy. I think it's just Ita, maybe.
I'm gonna make you a host, Olivia, just for the time
Sure.
being. So yep. So can you go now, Olivia?
Yep. Can you hear me?
No, maybe she needs to log back out and log back in.
Yeah. Sure. If you want to make me okay, I'll put something in the chat. Yeah.
This is where Rita goes red again and thinks, how do we unmute you?
The joys of Zoom.
That's it.
You're not on mute. Make you host. Do you want to change host to Olivia? Yeah.
She still thinks we're
Olivia,
me.
is that you working?
Perfect. Yeah.
No.
I think it might be an issue with Ita's headphones.
I think it might just be Ita.
Yeah. Send her a quick chat. Amy, do you want
Yeah.
to just start your presentation, and in the background I'll keep
Yeah,
speaking to
absolutely.
Ita? Thanks very much. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you to Ita and Olivia for having me, of course. One thing I want to add, if it's okay, Olivia, it might not be, but for CAO applications, one thing I found is your statement. I had to just look up there to make sure I was sure. Your statement of application is a really important email. So when you get that email, you basically have to confirm all your details and make sure everything's right with your leaving cert number, your PPS number, everything like that. And if you don't tick it, it might not go through. So just definitely 100% make sure you have that email checked. It'll come to you, I think, after it closes near your leaving cert. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So in regards to my story, I came in the PLC route, which is the QQI entrant route. Why would I do that? So I was a sixth year and I wasn't sure what kind of subjects I was looking for. A lot of people recommended the ARCS course to me, and that was where I wanted to go towards. But it can be hard going into an arts course not knowing what you were doing. So, like Ita was saying, a lot of people were saying to me, well, what are you good at in school? What do you like in school? But sometimes school isn't for everyone. It wasn't for me, it wasn't for Ita. And I found that I wanted to know exactly what I wanted to do before I went in. So that's why the ARCS course, if you have a route out of the ARCS course, my recommendation is go. But if you don't know what you're walking into and you're just going because whether it be peer pressure or you're unsure or you just want to go to university, make sure you're looking at what you're going into first, because as Ita said, it's a very long 3 or 4 years that you're going to be in college, and it can be really hard if you don't know what you're looking at. So I loved Maynooth. Like that, I went to the open days, and it's a full circle moment even talking to students today, because it can be very daunting walking into an open day and looking at all these lectures and going, oh my God, like this is so prestigious and so big, but it's really not. It's such a welcoming environment. And I went on a campus tour and I loved the place. It's little things like that. It can be a really big jump as well from secondary into your college experience. And as I say in the Meet the Students, if anyone was in there, college is a very different experience. No one's going to hold your hand as such. And of course, Maynooth will support you in every single avenue we can, whether that be from essays to your social support, your mental health support. But at the same time, you need to be prepared for the workload that you're going to have. And that's why choosing your subjects are so important. There is a lot of criticism I found, especially about PLCs. And I was at the open day, luckily enough, with the admissions team, and I was absolutely thrilled to be with them. But a lot of parents, when I mentioned the word like PLC or QQI, they kind of looked at me with a bit of horror because sometimes there is kind of that superstition around it that they're thinking, is a PLC really worth it? I know my parents, for example, thought that it was a lazy route out of your leaving cert, that you didn't do on your leaving cert, so you're just going to go do a PLC instead. And I was actually shocked the amount of parents that I spoke to at the open day that felt the exact same way. It's the complete opposite. So when you do your research, for example, I did the pre-liberal arts degree in Dunboyne College. And note as well, your PLC applications are not for your CAO. So your level 7s and your level 8s are for your CAO. But if you're applying directly for your PLC, you have to apply directly to the college. This is usually just a cover letter, your recent results from school and that kind of thing. It's nothing scary, it's nothing daunting, but if you are looking to do PLC, it's a different route. So just make sure whatever courses you're interested in, find them on the course finder and contact that college. They usually have a lot of information on their pages, Dunboyne especially. So why did I choose this course? The reason I did was you have a physical element to it. So say you take midwifery in Dunboyne College, for example, you're being taught by a nurse or a doctor. You're being taught by someone who's an expert in their field. Same with the law for me. I didn't do law, but I know a barrister was the person who was over that course. It's very similar like that, that you're getting a very hands-on approach. You also have to do a mandatory work experience module, which is brilliant. You're studying something like midwifery, as I said, they put you on placement in a hospital. So you're getting 1 year's experience for 3 years that you know exactly what you're walking into. Now, in relation to points, so obviously, as we all know, for your leaving cert, 625 points. Your QQI points are different, but they're not daunting by any way. So they're judged on what you receive in your subject. So you sit 8, you can sit more than 8 if you want backups. You sit 8 subjects, and whether you get a distinction, a pass, or a merit, pass, merit, distinction, they make up your points. So the maximum you can get is 390 points. And that may seem daunting to people, but it's not at all. Your points are really easy to get because you're being helped so much. Like you walk into Maynooth College knowing how to write an essay, knowing how to cite in your essays. And it's little things like that. Even public speaking is a massive thing that you learn. And all these things add up. Like for me, the only reason that I loved Maynooth, I always did, but I just didn't want to go in if I knew I wasn't ready because it puts a lot more stress than just walking in there. I walked in there and I could focus on the course content. I wasn't focusing on how do I write an essay? Oh my God, I don't know how to do this. It's adding more stress than what I felt it was adding more stress than taking it away. Entering Maynooth then was incredibly easy. So doing a QQI, you do not escape the CAO. Doing a QQI, you are still in the CAO register. So for your leaving cert, you have a leaving cert number. For your QQI, your PPS number is your QQI number. So it's the exact same as any other application. You just have to make sure you definitely have your PPS number right. You put in your leaving cert number as well, because if you don't get an offer, so I believe the QQI offers are a couple of weeks before round 1. Now, the CAO or the Maynooth website for QQI offers will show you exactly the breakdown of module codes that are accepted and stuff. For me, my qualification coming out of a pre-liberal arts degree was a general studies module, if you will. So you get a course code for that. And if you go onto our website, you can compare the course code to a course you're interested in. So I went in originally to the BCL of law and it was accepted with that. And like, you're never going to be stuck in regards to support, because if you ever have a question, you can always contact the admissions office and they're more than incredibly helpful at times. Because trust me, I was one of them who was emailing. But
At times, Amy. Just at times.
Never. No, they're brilliant. They are, from someone who was probably more chatty to them than anyone else. Like, you have a lot of questions, obviously, as a student walking in, and I can tell you from experience and even from doing the open days with the admissions team, there is no question too silly. And we'd rather you ask the questions to the students or the staff that we can help you than you walking in blindsided and you're not probably knowing what to do. So yeah, let me just see. Another happiness, I guess, of doing a PLC or coming as a QQI entrant is that you do have a lot of supports around you, not just your normal supports like essay writing and everything else comes with. You're also helped by the MAP office. This helped me a lot because it can be daunting. You would think that having a bit more experience behind you would be helpful, but it can be really scary walking into a college that everyone maybe is a year or two younger than you, your friends are a couple of years above you, and you kind of like it can be hard to sit down and think about really. So the MAP office are brilliant. They're the Maynooth Assistant Program and they guide you through the whole thing if you ever need help. And like that way, every avenue in Maynooth, you're always going to be quite well helped. In regards then to the CAO, it's the exact same thing. I first applied as a 6th year to do business in my CAO, my original CAO form, because as Isha said, you're kind of told to do what you like in school sometimes. So I went and applied for business. I got my first option and I deferred for a year because that's how I felt I should do it. And then I did my PLC. When you do a referral, you only put that course as your number 1 for your CAO. That's it in the next year. I didn't do that. I emailed the office and I told them, look, I'm going to change the course. They said, as Isha goes, the golden rules, just make sure you have your order preference, fill it out correctly, and that's it. I applied then for the BCL. Applying as a QQI student is the exact same. The only difference is that your points are coming from a different source, I guess. But you're doing the exact same thing as you did in 6th year. As I said, there's no reason to worry about whether you have certain amount of points or there's no reason to worry about.
But it's important to say, as applying as a QQI applicant, you still include your leaving cert information,
exactly.
Amy.
Absolutely, I said that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
If you've done your leaving cert, put your leaving cert number in, because you get your offers as a QQI student, and then if you don't get them, a lot of my friends didn't, you're still on offer then if for your leaving cert points. So there's no kind of worry about that. Yeah, no, thank you, Isha. That was brilliant part. But yeah, I think that's kind of all my
No,
Hi.
it's a brilliant insight, Amy, and in particular, what you said there at the start is by going and talking to people.
Yes,
It's because it is a big transition
100%.
from second level classes to structured timetable to going into a large university or a large setting.
Yeah,
So really, and what I do, as I mentioned, excuse me, as I mentioned at the start, I've worked in a number of different institutions, and what
yeah,
really appeals to me as even a staff member is how helpful Maynooth is. It is a community. It is
yes,
that community, and I just see like I seen at our most recent open day in November, the busiest people were actually the students, the Maynooth students, showing potential students around, telling them
yes,
exactly what it's like. And Amy, so you said you initially thought you wanted to do, got offered business, but did you say
yeah,
you thought you wanted to do arts? And what
yeah,
made you change? And then did you change from MH2 502 to 501? So I think
yeah,
it's important for the listeners, and I know we're nearly out of time. So it's
make
important to have the courage to say, actually,
yeah.
it isn't business, isn't what I want, arts isn't what I want. So so you could offer, and maybe you'd explain to the listeners or the
So
audience the difference between 502 502, the program you did get offered,
yeah.
and how you changed into 501. No, there's not a huge, like it's not like you're going from engineering into French. Like,
That's it.
yeah.
It's an application transfer. It's an internal transfer, excuse me. So, as Emma Stevens said earlier, one of the MU staff at the first talk is based on a person to person based. So, for me anyway, I know for my course for 502, I studied. So, to go back a little bit, the ARCS course is amazing. And I said this before if you want a lot of choice. And that's why I originally kind of went towards it. Then, as I talked to people, again, talking is what gets
Mm.
you figured out. As I talked to people, then I was like, maybe I want to do business. And that's what led me to business. Then after I finished PLC, I realized I had a massive love for law. So that's how I ended up in that. I started in MH502 because it was a mix of law and criminology.
So
And
the
my
course is
feeling,
called, sorry, the course MH502's Law and Criminology.
BCL.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
BCL law and criminology. You can also do BCL law and business, law and accounting, law and languages, and law and art. So you have a massive selection there. The reason it appeals to students is jumping into a law specialized course can be very daunting. It's a lot of heavy coursework. So I wanted to go in, but I wanted to take something with it. So I wasn't really stuck so much in the law because you're not sure still if you want to do pure law. I ended up, I said to my parents before, like, look, I'm gonna love the criminology and hate the law, but that's okay. And I was the opposite. I loved the law. So in first year, then after my exams, when I was filling out my second year form, they had an option for me to transfer into the LLB, which is the pure law course. No difference other than you just drop the criminology and you stay with more law-based modules and you do a bit more hands-on work there. And that was an internal transfer. You just have to pass, I believe, all your first year subjects. And then you have an option if you'd like to transfer in. I know a couple of other subjects do that. I know the ARCS course is very good for that. If you go in and you take a couple of subjects like law and business or law and criminology, you can transfer then into the law and criminology specialized degree, or you can transfer into the LLB. So you've a lot of options inside Maynooth, not just outside.
Mm.
But yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Amy. Olivia, thank you for answering all your questions. I just want to tell people if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, or sometimes when you go away and think about what we were talking about, something might crop up tonight or crop up tomorrow or crop up in 6 months, once it's before the 1st of July, feel free to email us at undergrad ugadmissions at mu.ie, ugadmissions at mu.ie, or Google admissions team at Maynooth. You get my details, Olivia's details, and all our colleagues' details. So back to what Amy was saying, just ask, keep asking, but please do go to the open days.
Do you mind if
Uh,
I quickly answer a
yes.
question there, just while it's finished? Someone just said, I don't know what to do. What PLC should you do? My best advice very quickly is do something that you think you'll have an interest in for a course. Don't just go into a course that you think, oh, I do that in school, so I like it in a PLC. Because remember, you're planning for the future. And I know for Dunboyne anyway, if you go in and you don't like a subject, you actually have an option to transfer into something else. Sorry, I just wanted to
But
answer that
I'm
quick.
just saying on that, and I picked
Yeah,
up the Meath twang on you there a couple of times, Amy. But I was driving through, I think, Navan or Trim recently, and I did see an open night
yeah.
coming up in Dunboyne,
It
and
is.
we're
It's an
we're
honor.
only using Dunboyne as an example here because Amy went there,
Absolutely.
but there's Cavan Institute, Monaghan Institute, so many great Drogheda
Greystones.
Institute,
Yeah.
great everywhere. So
Yeah.
go to their open nights too, and you can apply for a QQI, a PLC route, and also a CEO application. Then make your mind up when you get all these offers, please God, next August. But we need to, excuse me, go for our 8 o'clock session. If anything we've said resonates, but about courses, there's other sessions starting now at 8 p.m. We're available on web chat, on email. You'll get our details on the website. Just want to thank Olivia and in particular Amy for their assistance. Apologies on my end for the technical errors at the start and at the end, but hopefully you have got some useful information, and hopefully we'd please, if you do come to the open day, come up and say hello to us, and if there's anything else we can help you with on your CEO journey, don't hesitate to contact any of us. So thank you for your attendance.